Welcome to Fun and Games Side Quests. Every episode is a different host sharing a video game they love and why they love it.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Hans Martin Jr., your real movie critic, co-host of the podcast show, The Real Movie Critic versus The Cynic Guy. Yes, I'm back again, and I'm here to talk about another one of my favorite games. And yes, it is another fighting game, but this is the fighting game that started it all for me, and that is Street Fighter 2. Now, since I was a kid, the first time I remember seeing this type of video game was at an arcade, where this is the first time I actually saw a fighting game. And yeah, I was watching it while two people were playing it, where you had two different characters just duking it out. And what really surprised me was they have fireballs? You could shoot fireballs at them? What? That was, to me, mind-blowing at the time. And not only that, you see like all these other special moves, and not only that, all the different characters they had. It was actually a really, really fun game. And to me, I was like, I gotta get in on this. And so I did. And man, once you know how to play these characters, it is a lot of fun. You know, once you know how to do the special moves, then you can start strategizing of when to use them, how to use them. And, you know, with the fighting parts, that's kind of like the easy part. But you still have to strategize and know how to defeat your opponent. And, you know, a couple characters that I really enjoy now. One of them, well, first, let me say, when I was a kid, one of my favorite characters was Blanca. I don't know. As a kid, I picked out the weirdest looking characters, and Blanca was definitely one because he's a monster. And yeah, you know, I just love some of the moves, like how he bites you, or when he like turns into electricity and electrifies you. Oh man, those were some fun times. Another character too that I like to use, even though some people consider it as a cheat character, is Dhalsim. And the reason I like Dhalsim, not only that he could stretch and kick you from far distance or punch you from far distance because he could stretch out his arms and legs, but I love his firepower where he's like, yoga fire. You know, and then you shoot like a fireball, and when you get them, they turn into flames. To me, that's awesome. All right. But nowadays, when I play Street Fighter, one of my favorite characters is definitely Guile. Not only does he have that Sonic Boom special move, but I really enjoyed some of the characters, like his backbreaker move where you could catch somebody in the air and just land on the ground. Oh, man, I love doing that to add it as a finishing move. And then, yeah, and you know what? A lot of people's favorites, would you use Ryu or Ken? Because they practically got it all. They have the fireball where they go Hadouken, and also that power uppercut, like, oh, you get, or even that hurricane kick, I suck that Dugan. You know, just the sounds of these characters make is awesome. And yeah, and with Street Fighter 2, you got the main characters, you know, the ones that really started it all, like Ryu, Ken, Guile, Chun-Li, Zangief. And I'm just naming a few already. Oh, E Honda. How could I forget about E Honda too? You know, with his 1,000 slaps. But yeah, and each character was very different. And I remember when I first got the game, you know, I tried out every different character, tried to master each character. And yeah, and one of the other things that I really enjoyed about this is the stories at the end. Oh man, there were some pretty good stories, but the obvious favorite one for me is Ryu, where he's always traveling, trying to find the next big fight. You know, that's always been his story, which I think is a great story. And so with future games, you know, that story still progresses. And if my memory serves correctly, you know, at that time, Street Fighter 2, you couldn't get the 4 final villains with that. They weren't playable characters, but they were part of the game. You know, you start off with Balrog, which, let's face it, it's a Mike Tyson type of character without the biting. And then you move on to Vega, who was a little challenging with his claw, and, you know, he was a very fast character. But then you get to Sagat. Oh, my goodness. He was the hardest one to defeat, in my opinion, this tall kickboxing type of guy. And when he defeats you, he just laughs at you, you know. And then the final villain, M. Bison. He was hard too, I'm not going to lie. But man, when you're going head to head and start fighting him and everything, And actually, when you start fighting him, he has his cape and he just throws it off. Very, very BA if you ask me. But yeah, once you finally defeat him, and then you defeat him because they go like a slow motion type of fate or death or whatever you want to call it. And then you finally defeat him. Oh man, it's such a satisfying feeling. And same thing when you're going against your friends and stuff. Once you land that final blow and they start that slow motion falling down or whatever you want to call it, it's just a satisfying thing. And yeah, to me, that was my first fighting game. I do believe this is the fighting game that really started the other fighting games too, like Mortal Kombat or all the other ones that you may like with that, like Soul Calibur or Virtual Fighter, whatever. I strongly believe this is the game that really started it all, and I do appreciate that. It's fun. It's a good time. It's a good party game to have with your friends too. You could have tournaments and whatnot. And yeah, no, it's definitely a good thing to go down memory lane and know all the good times I had with that game. And I had it for Sega Genesis, I remember. And yeah, no, it's a game that, like I said, it started it all, and I do love and I do appreciate. And yeah, this is why I really enjoyed video games, because of that game. All right, guys. Once again, this is Hans Martin Jr., your real movie critic. You can check out my podcast, Real Movie Critic vs. Cine Guy, at CertainPOV.com. And thank you for listening. Happy gaming.
Man, that movie was excellent.
It really was. Totally blew my expectations away.
I know, right? Now I really want to tell everyone about it. But I'm not sure how.
Yeah. If only there was a podcast dedicated to reviewing films and discussing the latest news and trailers on upcoming films. That would be nice.
Yes, for sure. And we can call it the Cine Guy Show.
What? No. It will be called Real Movie Critic Unleashed.
No. How about Cine Guy featuring Real Movie Critic?
How about the Real Movie Critic and his sidekick, the Cine Guy?
CG and RMC.
RMC and CG!
The Real Movie Critic versus the Cine Guy. Only at CertainPOV.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
You're going down, critic.
Bring it on, guy.
CPOV.
CertainPOV.com.